celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life with Sterling Fox on AM 650.
Welcome back to the program on Boomer Life. Today, for the very first time, we're spending an hour talking about diamonds and precious metals. Our guest in studio is Stephen Benoliel of Canadian Estate Diamonds here in Vancouver. And we just found out a few moments ago that our guest was also very much a principal involved with the forming of the polar bear Canadian diamonds up north, and has spent fair bit of time in our north at those diamond mines. And Stephen, you've traveled all over the world. We were talking about blood diamonds and how that scenario is no longer. It's very, very different in West Africa now. You've spent a lot of time over the years in West Africa.
That's right. It's a compelling place. I guess you'd have to say it's the third world, but you also see the future there. You see the hope in the people, and so many things about it there are compelling to somebody like myself.
Mm-hmm.
The diamonds are the finest in the world. They have colored diamonds, blues and pinks. And the chance for anybody to find a diamond even under their living room floor that could set them on a road to riches undreamed of in the third world is interesting, I think, in any mindset.
Interesting stuff. Now let's come back to downtown Vancouver. You have an office at Canadian Estate Diamonds has an office right near Granville and Georgia downtown.
That's right, the old Vancouver block.
What do you do at that office in downtown Vancouver?
Well, we have a small diamond cutting factory, and we actually run two businesses under one roof. And the one we push the envelope in new and innovative diamond cuts, and Canadian Estate Diamonds focuses on the aftermarket. The baby boomer generation in North America stands to inherit $15 trillion over the next 10 years, and some of that will come in the form of diamonds. And of course, some of those diamonds will remain heirlooms and memories for the people that inherit them. Mm-hmm. Others really have no interest in them. The jewelry style may have changed.
Right.
The diamonds could be an old mine cut. So we found an opportunity in taking older diamonds and repolishing them for the market today. And we've also sadly realized that half of Canadian marriages end in divorce, and often a girl who's got that ring on her finger that's just bringing back bad memories just wants to liquidate it.
Sure. And what do you do when someone brings you a product? They go to the office there near Georgia and Granville, mm-hmm. and they come up and they've got a ring. Let's just say one ring. A person recently divorced decides, right, I'm getting rid of the hardware. It's just a bad part of my life now. Okay. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to take this to Mr. Benoliel and his company at his Canadian Estate Diamonds and liquidate the darn thing. So what's the process, Stephen?
Right. Most people would, once they've got that diamond, want to know really a fair value outside of what the person buying it from them might say. So they'll go to a gemologist, an independent jewelry appraiser, and try to get an idea of what it's worth. And the two sides to that is that they can get an insurance appraisal, which is a value projected 5 years forward to cover currency fluctuations and the increase of a diamond. And it really isn't its liquidation value. So what they should do is go to that appraiser and ask for a certificate or appraisal based on its liquidation or market value today, because the two numbers are far apart, and anybody coming in with an insurance appraisal inevitably is disappointed or thinking that we're not being fair.
I'm glad there is a discrepancy. You know, I love to watch the Antiques Roadshow. And it happens at the end. You know, the person sits there and they've got a figurine or a painting or a piece of jewelry, whatever, and the expert goes through the song and dance about what it is. And then they always say, do you have any idea what this is worth? And the person goes, well, I had it appraised once, but that was 10 years ago, and it's probably worth a few dollars more. And then the expert will usually say, well, at auction, this item might fetch X dollars, but you should insure it for X more dollars. And there's always two different numbers. So now as you're explaining it to us, that's why they do that. The insurance appraisal is not for now, it's for 5 years from now.
That's right. And think of the insurance company, they get paid on they get their premium based on the value of the insurance appraisal, and they're quite happy to insure it for more than it's worth, knowing they can replace it for less than that number.
Right, okay.
So it's a little bit of collusion between somebody selling the diamond initially and the insurance company, which maybe doesn't serve the consumer best, but that's the way it is. So we always hope that somebody will come armed with a GIA appraisal or an AGS, that's the Gemological Institute of America, because that really takes everybody's integrity off the table, and it's in their best interest. In fact, every diamond bought today over half a carat should have one of those two certificates, because they're the honest ones. They're nonprofit businesses out of the States, and they're the last word. The Gemological Institute defined how a diamond is graded in the first place, and you're going to get the most money on your diamond if you have one of those certificates.
Okay, and of course, back to the lady, the recently divorced lady, angry, getting rid of the ring. The
Right.
ring actually is made of two items. There's the diamond, or diamonds, held together by clasps and in a circle of gold of some value or not. So do you buy the diamonds from this person and then sell the gold to somebody else? Do you buy the whole ring, or do you take the diamonds out and give the gold portion back to the lady and say, next door is the gold place, thanks for the diamonds? How does that work? Again, back to process.
Right. We always buy, understanding that it's going to be more convenient for that person. We buy the product, and we offer them, in fact, more for the gold than they'd get at a gold trader. Our focus is the diamond, and for the most part, we're looking for diamonds over a carat. Those are the ones that are becoming short in the world market.
Okay.
But they're going to get a better return from us on both the gold and the diamond.
Now, you've talked extensively already about the need for professional input into the valuation or appraisal of these precious metals and stones. Do most people who come to Canadian Estate Diamonds come to you, Stephen, armed with such an appraisal or two?
Almost always. And again, it's in their interest as good and discerning consumers to have a good understanding. It's better for me, it's better for them, and as long as we can agree on the quality, we can often agree on the price.
Okay. And how are gold we're aware of because it's taken a bit of a pounding in the last year. How and gold is a per ounce priced commodity.
Right.
Diamonds are measured in carats. Is that their also means of pricing?
That's right. The pricing of diamonds goes exponentially with size, and the world is not short of small, inexpensive diamonds, but there is quickly becoming a shortage of diamonds above 1 carat and of higher quality. Over the course of the Great Recession, a 3 carat in a D flawless, which is a perfect diamond, doubled in price. And largely today that's due to a new market in the world, China, and Chinese love diamonds, and they're a very discerning consumer. They love the big and the beautiful.
Okay, and they're certainly one of the planet's fastest growing economies. Would they become the fastest growing group of diamond purchasers almost by inclusion there?
That's right. In the last 2 years, they've surpassed America as the biggest diamond market in the world.
Interesting. And so how has that changed the selling and buying of diamonds worldwide with a change in dynamic at the consumer top end?
Right. Well, it certainly has done something for a diamond with an 8 in it. Any diamond, 88 points, 8 carats, it's going to China the day it comes off the wheel.
Is that right? Oh, okay.
And they've driven the high end. As I said, anything over a carat, 2 carat to 3 carat and a high color, high clarity is very likely today going to end up in China.
Interesting.
In the 90s, it was Japan as the early 90s at least, as their market grew, and America is still there. If you can think of the safety deposit boxes of America holding perhaps more big, beautiful diamonds than are left in the ground, you can see how a business like Canadian Estate Diamonds has an opportunity to grow through the years.
I want to just catch you up for a second. This whole business of diamonds left in the ground.
Right.
And it may be time to stick a pin in a bubble here and burst a myth or two, maybe, Stephen, because there is this widely held global conspiracy theory by we consumers, we who buy diamonds for our wives, etc., that, really, somewhere in the world, there's a skyscraper full of diamonds, and they're releasing them in limited quantities. They've got more diamonds than humanity could ever begin to count, but they keep them sequestered and secluded away and release them in very limited amounts in order to control the price. At all times, it's about keeping the price as high as the market can stand. Thus, we only allow a certain number out per annum. That's the myth, that the diamond industry has got more than they could ever begin to count, and they're just sitting on it to make us pay the highest prices possible. Now, how much truth, if any, is there to that widely held myth?
Sterling, I believe it's an issue of the past. There was a time when De Beers, as a monopoly, controlled diamond pricing and production. They don't anymore. I know that their big lots of diamonds that they had put away to manipulate qualities and sizes, they're gone.
So it was a practice at one time then. So we're not completely out to lunch.
They absolutely did manipulate the diamond market at a point in time. But there's, through the last 30 years, I've run into a lot of cynical men who've read or heard stories about the diamond business and a monopoly that controlled it, manipulating the way that we would go forward with diamonds. But there are some things that people just misunderstand, and that great vault full of diamonds is one of them. I know that the Russians hold some, but for the most part, these diamonds, especially the Canadian, go to market very quickly, and they go right from the mine into Antwerp, as most of the world production does.
Interesting. Another quick curiosity question. Hey, we've never talked about diamonds on Boomer Life before. We have a lot of catching up to do here, Stephen. How does one find diamonds? Do they come in veins like gold, and you can find a huge swath of real estate that's loaded with them, or are they really isolated little pockets? You've been all over the world chasing after these stones, so where are they found usually?
Well, there's two places you'd find them, Sterling. You find them in old volcano pipes in a matrix called kimberlite, which is a soft blue ground that erodes once it's exposed to air. So the big diamond mines of the world are all old volcano pipes, and they're bigger in Africa than in Canada. The secondary place they're found is in riverbeds. They've been washed away from their original source, like placer gold, and they're found on bedrock because they have a high specific gravity like gold. So they're often found with gold.
Interesting. Okay, we have a dormant volcano within an hour's drive of Vancouver. It's Mount Baker. Hasn't blown up for a couple of hundred years, but it is a legitimate, authentic volcano. Might there be diamonds as close as Mount Baker, Stephen?
Well, I was told that in the 70s, De Beers was looking in the mountains around Whistler, but I've been told by another geologist that the geology of the West Coast is not of the age that most diamonds in the world have been found in hard rock, like the Precambrian Shield, where Canadian diamonds are found.
All right. And of the world's diamonds, we still use diamonds for cutting, for industrial applications as well. So they would be inferior quality, I assume, to the jewelry, the diamonds that we think of when we see in our mind's eye.
That's right. They're usually from something called Bort, which trades for $2 to $8 in natural diamonds. In fact, for the most part, they're using synthetic diamonds in industry today because they can form them in more uniformity.
You were talking earlier about West Africa and colored diamonds. And sometimes I did a little shopping before Christmas, and I noticed that it seems to be a kind of a trend in some of the stores where these colored diamonds are quite popular. Are they real, or are they other stones that are being sold or marketed as diamonds? Colored diamonds are in fact real. This is not some paint job.
Well, they are naturally found in pinks and blues and yellows, even browns. There are diamonds that have been put in a cyclotron to change them into a fancy color, and there's also a treatment called HPTP treatment that changes a diamond's color. The value, though, is going to always be in natural.
Of course.
And the value of some of the natural fancy diamonds is tremendous. We had a customer shopping at Christmas for a $15 million blue diamond out of Shanghai.
Oh boy.
And at that time, $2 million per carat was the most ever paid for a blue. And just in the last few months, the price has gone crazy again in them. So this is the time for a colored diamond. Maybe not the best time financially to buy one, but
Because they're so popular all of a sudden?
That's right. The prices are at the sky. But now actresses like Jennifer Lopez have walked around with their pink diamond, creating an interest in the hearts of Canadian girls as well.
And you were talking about 1 million people currently involved in the diamond cutting industry in India. And is that not a place where a lot of the world's largest and in some cases most colorful diamonds have come from? I'm thinking of Queen Victoria's jewelry. Huge diamonds, just massive.
That's right. The first diamond mining of the world was in the Golconda region of India. And that's largely, well, that I think is completely played out. I think their production was perhaps almost 200 years ago. But big, beautiful diamonds. Interesting that the diamond cutting industry has ended up back in India again. And really they're controlling a lot of the world's output of polished diamonds today.
Interesting stuff. Well, we'll come back to Vancouver and find out more about Canadian Estate Diamonds. By the way, you can check them out online at your leisure. Perhaps during the following break, the website is, as you might expect, CanadianEstateDiamonds.com. This is Boomer Life on AM 650. Lots more on the program still ahead. Stay with us.
It's all about the baby boomer lifestyle. Boomer Life on AM 650.